Moderator.
Yes.
Good morning. Just so I'm clear, this bill will not allow parents to opt out of HIV/AIDS education. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we cannot opt out of that.
Correct.
Okay. Does this bill or do parents have the option to opt out of gender identity and expression, which starts in kindergarten?
Well, and let me check to see exactly what happens in kindergarten.
That's on page 21 of the Maryland Comprehensive Health Education Framework.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Just 1 second. Okay. Kindergarten, gender identity expression. Kindergartners will learn to recognize a range of ways people identify and express their gender. They will recognize it's important to treat people of all gender identities and expressions with dignity and respect.
Okay, that's kindergarten. Okay, how about the 4th grade lesson on same gender physical and sexual attraction, which is on page 22?
4th grade, there is, in the sexual orientation identity, they identify sexual orientation as a person's physical and or romantic attraction to an individual of the same and or different gender.
Okay, and how about page 23? Can parents opt out of the 6th grade lesson on sex assigned at birth?
So your pages are different than mine. So what grade are you looking at?
All right, I'm looking at, I read this page by page, the Mental Comprehensive Framework. Okay, so if the pages don't correspond with yours, I mean, the lessons are still the same. So this is 6th grade, the lesson on sex assigned at birth.
6th grade, let me find, 1 second while I find 6th grade. Healthy. On page 33. 6th grade, gender identity and expression. Define sex assigned at birth, gender identity, and gender expression. You cannot opt out of that.
They cannot opt out of that.
Be leaders ourselves. Black women are being used by the Democrat Party.
All of these socioeconomic indicators are in the negative, particularly for black people.
They want mob rule. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform?
She had Donald Trump's hair on top of her head. And she's sitting here talking about brown girl this, brown girl that.
Because she's a black woman.
They would ask her how to spell her first name and clap like sea monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett and Shelly E. All right, before we dive in, and we got a lot to dive into tonight, do me a favor and tap that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, but certainly hit the like button. That helps to push our voice here on YouTube, amplify our voice. So please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Of course, we are on YouTube and Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Folks, we love our chat. We shout out all of our super chats. So it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show your love for conservative content. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us, subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So full disclosure, I know you guys were with us Monday night, and I'm battling a cold. Okay, I'm battling the flu. I was this close to not doing the show tonight. Literally, I've been in bed all day and I saw that video and I became enraged. And so I got up out of bed and I started watching it and I just started preparing the show for tonight. Folks, This is what we're going through in Maryland, but in many places across the country. So if you are not, don't sit back and say, oh, that's liberal Maryland. We don't have to deal with that over here in, I don't know, a conservative state. If we let this stuff fall through the cracks here, it's going to spread across the country. All right, so I want to go through the rest of the video, but I want to get you all's response first. Shelley, what did you think about what you just saw in that little bit of the clip we had there?
So I was looking through this comprehensive health education report bill, and let me say this. I don't care how comprehensive it may be. It can be as comprehensive as an anal exam. Parents have every right, always the ultimate decision maker, to remove or place in your kids to whatever activities you want. I hope that they are legal for the most part, don't get me wrong, but you have that right. That's the point. I don't care what it is. You could be getting an anal exam, an oral exam. You have that right. I don't give a damn what state law, what Supreme Court law says you don't. You do.
Yeah. I mean, they are sitting here saying that parents don't even have an option to opt out their children. They're saying the teacher knows best, the school knows best, the state knows best. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
What they're saying is the teachers union knows best, right? So here's a bit of really eye-opening information. Most of the delegates that are sitting in the People's House here in Maryland and Annapolis, their children go to private school. So these are not rules that would even apply to them.
Exactly.
They're making rules for other people's children, and they have been doing so despite our protests. But because they have a super majority, they jam it down our throats. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But what's going to happen is LaToya's good comments that she made. She stood up and called them out and said, okay, can they opt out of this thing? Go ahead and read it out loud so everybody can hear the lunacy that's going on. And most votes in Maryland, straight party line vote. The Dems have a very strong caucus, and especially the Black Legislative Caucus in Annapolis is very strong. But somebody's going to have to answer for some of this lunacy. I mean, we've beat them back on a couple of things that are just beyond the pale. Shout out to LaToya for making them read it out loud. It's nothing like putting a voice to foolishness. You can't opt your kid out. Some of this stuff shouldn't even be taught. Let's just call it a buck. Kindergarten, right. They should not be concerned about Johnny's two daddies and somebody's auntie who's a furry. That should not be even a question. But here we are.
It's crazy. I want you guys to look at the rest of this because, I could not believe my eyes. I could not believe my ears. We have a super chat here before we get into this. Thank you so much. All right, let's see here. Gimpy says, get well, KJ. We love you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I really appreciate you guys. And I know everybody's been sick, with the flu, all kinds of stuff are going around. So prayers to everyone who's sick or going to have a cold right now. So I want to take a look here and go through the rest of this if we can, because this is just crazy. This is crazy. Take a look at what else she's saying here. Now, again, this is Delegate LaToya in Congolo. She out of area called Anne Arundel County here in Maryland. And she is pushing back against this. It's called HB 0161, primary and secondary education. So it's the Maryland Department of Health develops a comprehensive health education framework, and they're going through what this involves. And they're basically saying, we're going to teach this to your kids and you cannot opt them out.
Absolutely.
Here we are.
Can you hear it? Gender identity and expression. Define sex assigned at birth, gender identity, and gender expression. You cannot opt out of that.
They cannot opt out of that.
Correct.
Okay, can parents opt out of the 7th grade lesson on masturbation, oral, and anal sex?
Yes, you can opt out of that.
Okay, they can. See, the thing is that these issues have not been just raised in Carroll County. They've been raised in Anne Arundel County, Montgomery County, and across the state of Maryland. You have parents that have religious and cultural beliefs that have been dismissed. And frankly, our job as parents is to protect our children. It is not up to the schools to teach our children things that don't align with our values. So if we're going to talk about diversity and inclusion, we need to look at the diversity of our communities and parents who do not want their children learning these lessons.
So that wasn't a question, but Madam Speaker, may I respond?
Yes. Go ahead.
So I'm, as you all know, and I know you're new, but I have 3 children, so I'm well aware of a parent's job.
Oh, what kind of mother are you? You got 3. That didn't do anything for me, for her to say, I have 3 children. Well, I feel sorry for them.
Well, the thing, the thing is that the point Latoya made is absolutely correct. What I would have added, if I were there, I would have said, number one, like Nicole said, in public school. So in the public arena, we do have some parents that support this, and we have some parents who are adamantly against it. So these are public funds. They are going to be spread out. The problem is when they say that you cannot opt out. Who the hell are these people? Number one, I don't understand. And Nicole, to your point, so they're going to have to give an account. Yes, but you know what? It's going to have to happen sooner than later. Parents are going to just have to say, I've had it. I had enough. Don't put your children there. Enough parents or many parents need to, if you want to call it a group together, don't take your kids, keep them out of school. Make a statement. Teach your children at home. You can learn all different kinds of ways. Children don't have to be boxed in the classroom only to learn. I'm not saying that there's not some benefit to that, but it's not the only way.
Okay,
parents have to say no.
Let me jump in. Okay. Because yes, many conservatives continue to say this, but we have to be right. We have to be realistic. So many people, the majority of parents, many of them are single parents, single moms, cannot take their children out of public schools. Just, oh, I saw this video, so tomorrow I'm going to take my child out of public school. So many people don't have the means to put them in private, and they don't
say put them in private. You can teach them in alternate ways,
and they can't teach their children themselves. They may not. They don't have the means to do it.
Okay. Here's one of the things that they can do.
But one second. My issue is, how is this a part of education? We've seen this. There was in New Jersey just today, they had another parents, teachers PTA meeting where they were showing porn to the children under this whole gender ideology, health mantra or whatever. It should not be in schools.
I agree with you. We agree that they should. We agree. There's no disagreement there. But when they're not and when they don't, ultimately, parents have to make a statement, if you want to call it that, take a stand, Custer's last stand, whatever it may be. And again, I appreciate that some parents are not going to be able to afford private school, but at what cost are we going to keep subjecting children to this abuse? That's what I'm likening it to. At what cost? At some point, the risk have to outweigh whatever benefits, and you have to make that decision. Yes, it will cost you time. It may cost you money. I'm not saying it may or may not interfere with your job. I'm not dismissing all of those possibilities. I'm not dismissing all of those possibilities. But if we are supposed to protect our children, particularly the minors, the very young children, because they are, in a sense, being groomed and their mind is being shaped and formed by this trash, then we have to take a stand. We on this show, we talk about people taking responsibility and accountability for everything else. But when it comes to this, there's some people who can't or won't or whatever. Bull crap. I'm not saying there's no sacrifice. I'm not saying there's no cost to doing that, but we have to take a stand.
Listen, there are many ways to take a stand. And for those parents who can't afford to snatch your children out of school, if you're looking to hurt these people, if you're looking to square up with them, here's what you did. When it's time to go to the voting booth, stop voting for these same folk over and over again. Y'all missed the sleight of hand that she did with Latoya when she addressed her. Oh, that's right, you're new. Latoya is just as sworn in as this woman is. just a sworn in, but she's angry because LaToya made her use her voice to tell everybody within earshot the foolishness that's in this plan. Oh, by the way, a plan that we can't even afford here in this state. There's no chance that these new teachers are going to make $90,000 coming in the door because none of the counties can afford it, including Montgomery County. So this is a whole lot of theater for something that they, one, are already teaching to your children. Wrap your head around that, because if you didn't know, now you know. It's not new. This is not new curricula. This is them telling you that now you can't opt out. Now you can't pull your child out. But let me tell you this, Shelley, you got the right point. KJ, you have the right point. You may not be able to withdraw them from school altogether, but I'll be damned if you can't opt them out. I'll be damned if you can't go on the day that they're teaching third graders about oral sex, that you can't show up in the school en masse with other parents and go, no. This is not what we believe in. This is not it.
One of the issues there is, and I've been in this situation. I pulled my child out. I pulled him out. Okay, but they sneak it in. Most of the time, these schools, you don't know when they're going to talk about this. They may have a title on the curriculum or whatever the topic is going to be that day, but they don't go into details that they're going to be telling your kids about butt plugs and anal sex and things like that. They don't do that. I want to continue with this one part here, because this is the part I want you guys to hear. All right, let me see here.
And that it's to protect and take care of your children. And I do that every day with my 13-year-old, my 11-year-old, and my 10-year-old daughter. And what I will say is that I find it refreshing that you are talking about diversity and inclusion.
So here we go. So this is so sickening. These Black people, or whatever she is, make me sick. So out of all of this, and this is what is on the front of minds of many Black people, instead of talking about indoctrination of our children, she's pushing out this DEI crap. Oh, I'm so happy you're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It makes me sick. It
is sickening. That was another sleight of hand. That was another sleight that she did, Nicole. You're right. That's what they don't see it. And for us to expect that they should or will, I think it's beyond, I don't know, it's beyond reason at this point. They're not going to change. I'm saying we outside, if we don't change, and when I say pull your children out, again, I want people to hear this. I am not minimizing the cost, and I'm not talking about just financial, the cost that will entail, right? But if enough parents do it, more than one here and there, I'm saying band together, if you will. What do they say? There's there's power in numbers, however that saying goes. If enough parents do it, take them out, keep band together. I'm not saying it's going to be all easy either. I'm not saying that, but I am saying there are risks and benefits to every choice, particularly in this education arena. Then we have to weigh those and see what we're getting, and then sometimes it calls for action beyond just the Supreme Court or the state law. I say sometimes you have to break the law. Yes, I'm saying it right here.
All right, here we go. I want to continue with this. It's almost done here.
And so thank you for that. What I also will say is the courts, the federal district court in 2023 denied in Montgomery County, not an on-point case, but similar. And then the higher court, the Fourth Circuit, said that parents do not have a right to challenge a lack of an opt-out policy. So that is pending in the Supreme Court right now. They said that is not a right.
So you're making it clear that it's not a right for parents to have a decision in their child's well-being, their child's education. Parents should always have the autonomy to opt out of any and every lesson especially that's in this comprehensive framework. So I encourage you all to take in what was just said, and also, my friend, the good delegate there that made the amendment, I would like you to strongly consider voting on this amendment. Thank you.
Madam.
Wow. All right. So she can say, I can't even believe that this is people are actually saying this. And we talked about this case, was it last year or the year before, about how these Montgomery County parents brought this to the state court. and they were found that they didn't have the right. It actually was a bunch of Muslim parents. It was a large community of Muslims that were against this because it was faith issues, and they were trying to without the opt out. So, but she just said it. This is major. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
Listen, this is Maryland,
right?
You know, the California of the East Coast. They don't believe that you have the right to parent your children. If this was a co-parenting situation with the state of Maryland, you are the baby daddy. You don't have any custody rights. You don't get to decide what they eat, what they won't eat, when they go to sleep, what they learn, how they learn it, and who teaches it to them. You have no say in that.
Right.
They firmly believe that by you acquiescing and turning your child over to this state agency, that they then become the de facto parent. And what they say goes. And that's not new. They have always felt, and they feel that way about a lot of things. I mean, you think back maybe 5-6 years ago when we were battling them over abortion law here in the state, where they were saying it's not enough just to have abortion, but we want to have abortion 28 days after the baby is born throughout the perinatal period. Most people in the state don't know what that means until we told them it's 28 days after the baby has been born. This is a whole human being now. So you're just going to let this baby lay on the table and die? Because some Yahoo in California think that's a great idea? Is that who we are in this state? And that same push have to be the same push that parents have to stand up. Look, I know everybody's busy. I'm busy too. I know everybody's got time commitments. God knows I understand that. But when it comes to my kid, I'll find the time. I'll find the time to fight. Absolutely, parents have got to stand up, and it can't be a one-off. You have to keep the pressure up because, like you said, KJ, they'll just slide it in some other way. They'll wrap it up in some other lesson, and your children are still getting what they consider critical information. They think this is critical to your child's upbringing, to their mental health.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Shelley, because this has very deep effect, like the meaning behind this. You know, she's saying that the courts have said, and they believe that parents do not have the rights to pretty much drive and lead their child's education. They do not have the right. Where do you see this can be stretched to other areas of our life?
Oh, absolutely. In a heartbeat. Number one, most people in Annapolis, DC, in the Congress, they're lawyers, number one. So that's what they do. They love to make laws, okay? They love to make laws from A to Z, all up and down the chain, no matter what. That's what they live for. That's number one. Number two, when I say it's time to break the law, let me codify that. It's time to break the laws that break away our rights from their rightful place and authority. Break those laws because they're already on shaky ground. No less, they are absolutely wrong, out of order, whatever you want to say. So they're already off the ground, off the grid when they make those kind of laws. Number three, these are just people. Where do they come up with these things to just make these laws, codify them, and then say, oh, everybody else has to follow them? When I say break the laws, part of that includes challenging these people who put their pants on, like my mother would say, put their pants on like you and I, and their SHIT stinks just like yours does and mine does. They're not above us. We are the people. We get to decide, and we certainly get to decide the values and the education, if you will, that we want for our children. No kindergartner, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, they don't even know they were born, let alone where they came from at that time. Okay, they think they came from the stars somewhere, some fairy tale, whatever, that somebody, shook a daggone wand and they appeared. This can go and it will go. It will go to other avenues. And frankly, it's already happened and happening.
Yeah. Well, folks, we wanted to bring this to you. Again, this is right here in Maryland, out today. This video just came out today. So this was a recent exchange. But again, this is something that has been going on here in Maryland for quite some time. But we wanted to talk about this and bring it to you so you would know and to be awake. I mean, we did get a small reprieve with having President Trump elected, But there's still a lot of things going on the local level all across this country that it will take people like us, our community here of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people to protect the children, to protect the education system, or at least protect parental rights. So we have to stay vigilant. You have to stay, aware of what's going on and fight back. That's all we can do. So speaking of that, I want you guys to take a look at this video we have to talk about how we have been pushing back against things like this.
We should note, again, and you and I have said this in the air many times, there is no evidence that Joe Biden was, involved in any wrongdoing.
Of course, want to note that there is no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden has done anything wrong.
I just want to reiterate.
And let's be clear for the viewers.
There is no evidence Biden did anything wrong.
Governor, you got a second?
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I Want to Make the Switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
All right. So moving along. So we got a lot to talk about tonight, folks. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you all so much. We certainly appreciate you. At last, Satisfied Patriot with a $10 super chat says, half fresh squeezed lemon, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1 jigger of whiskey. Boom.
That's
a good recipe, KJ.
It works.
I'll try that. I have everything whiskey.
It works.
All right. The Scrapping Beauty with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Says all America's children deserve a choice in education.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Certainly agree with you there. All right. So I want to change gears. Now, again, we're going to get into Anderson Cooper, talking about DOGE. We're also going to get into tonight DEI, the destruction of Ibram X. Kendi, all of that. We're going to touch on Pam Bondi's recent presser. But before we do that, I want to talk about Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is coming up this weekend, and we have a special guest with us tonight to talk about it and to give men and women, but particularly women, particularly men, some advice on navigating the dating journey. All right, so we have here Marcus Smith with us. How's it going, Marcus?
How's it going, everybody? I love to be here. Thank you. I just want to say, first off, thank you, and I'm a big supporter of you all. And I love the fire and just stay with it. And you're definitely making a difference.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. And so as Marcus said, he came to our Informed Voter Power series last year. And he's a big advocate for conservative thought and stuff like that. And so we had to have him on because he has a book. He wrote a book, Discover the Mind of Your Future Wife. So this book is for both men and women, but especially geared toward men navigating the dating journey. It offers a framework and commentary to help understand the values of a potential partner, allowing couples to save time, money, and heartbreak, all through a heavenly perspective. So, we had to have him on. So, Marcus, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then also the book?
Absolutely. So, born and raised in Baltimore City, right across the street from the Preakness. Yeah, I can smell the manure right now. But I am born and bred from Baltimore City, and I love being from Baltimore. I'm actually hard of hearing. I was actually born deaf, so I didn't speak until I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I'm a product of an actual supernatural miracle, and that I'm even able to hear you and even speak. So that is a big foundation of my life and my perspective on life. And moving on, I graduated from Gallaudet University, which is the only school geared for those who are deaf and hard of hearing, and in DC. So I'm a big component of helping those who are deaf and hard of hearing. Anyone who speaks and uses sign language, American Sign Language. And my journey, I wanted to say this first off. I am no expert, but I am a person with a story. And that story all started in 2016 when it comes to dating seriously with intention. And so this book was actually written way before then, but when I got married just last year, I put it all together and I said, you know what, this is a culmination of experience being fed into, and also just have a love and heart for people. So I'm excited to share a little bit about the book, and be nice to me, okay? Be nice to me.
No, absolutely, yes. Well, Shelly, you started. What questions do you have for Marcus?
Actually, Marcus, I do want to hear about the book. I have not read it, but I just want to tell you, I'm going to be one of your affinities of heart, if you will. I have an affinity for sign language. I was learning it consistently for a few years. I mean, not more than a few years ago, but I stopped. But I'm planning on taking it back up this summer.
Okay.
When my daughter was born, I actually was speaking to her in sign language. Nice. And I would say that my daughter rarely cried, right? And even before she could talk, but we were signing, and I think that helped us for her to communicate words and just to express, quote unquote, how she was feeling or whatever was going on.
It helps.
So I love that part. But I do want to hear about your story. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll get into the story. So in 2016, I started, really dating intentionally, but I realized that a lot of women were not necessarily, the values were not the same. And so I realized that late, but I understood that I needed to sort of have a framework to say, I need to save time, money. And I actually had a couple heartbreaks because I thought I was betrayed. You know what I mean? I thought, oh, this is a good person. You know what I mean? It's a good person, and we're vibing and all the good stuff. And then when real stuff happens, like in politics or in our faith or just how we want to raise our children, whatever, in the future, and then you say, "Whoa, I didn't think you were like that." So it's important to have those sort of questions and intentionally date and have a mindset of the future while you're dating, so you can evade some of those heartbreaks. And so after my heartbreak, I started to write questions. My middle name is Question. I love asking questions, good questions, not annoying questions, but just questions, because the right question gets the right answer. So, and of course, people can lie and whatnot, but I feel like most people who are actually not thinking about these things will reveal their true motive immediately. So, so Valentine's Day is coming up, and I think that everybody should protect themselves by actually understanding themselves first. And this is what this book is about. It's a framework that first you yourself need to ask yourself and find out where you land, where your values lie, so that way you can go out on a date and, of course, be attracted to the person, have fun. But then when you get to the nitty gritty, now you can talk about, for example, what is your purpose? Understanding, do you identify with your race or your faith more? Which is a good transition to talk about your faith and how you see the concept of racism and other things. So without actually going straight to it, you know. And so I think it's important to as a man, a lot of women say, hey, men don't really have nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, just a date and whatnot. So these questions allow you to be different, insightful, but also give you the opportunity to be bold. And that's what I think women want. They want people to, men to stand firm on what they believe in. And if you don't agree, so be it. You know, you're a nice looking person, hopefully, you know, and you can carry on.
All right. Nicole, did you have a question?
Yes. So for people who are in dating for their future,
yes,
you often hear them talking about how their partner or the person they're interested in is not yet quite healed from other issues that they live through. Where do you fall on that spectrum with, is it okay to start dating while they're still healing, or are you waiting for, you know, them to kind of find their feet first before you jump into a romantic relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like it really depends on two things. Are you a person who is healthy enough, spiritually strong enough to be able to say, I see the future in terms of us together, and you can sort of walk alongside them? If you're not, then I would say do not pursue that relationship, because you know that person has to be whole in some sense. 'Cause we're all broken, we're all healing in a sense, you know. So you can't eliminate someone immediately just because they've been through a heartbreak or they have trust issues or whatnot. But at the same time, they have to be in a place where they can receive you, so you can step in the gap and cover them as you grow together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Do you have a question, TJ?
No. Did you have something, Shelly?
I thought of something I wanted to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Marcus, you mentioned the question about, you know, do you identify with your race or faith or, you know, whatever other adjective you want to put in there, noun you want to put in there. Let me ask you this. Do you see dating differences amongst people, black people, let's say Caucasian community, black community, Asian community? Do you see dating differences, how they date before they married? Or if you do, what are some of the differences you see?
So I'm gonna speak on my dating experience, you know. And so me dating, I've dated women who are white, black, Asian, you know, all in careers, professional careers. And I feel like my experience is how you interact with them it's going to be how your dating experience is going to be. So if you're a person who is not asking questions that actually put them on notice, then they're not going to actually, you know, they're not going to respond to the way you want them to respond. And so I feel like a lot of times, I'm having a hard time dating. I always ask, not to blame them, but to say, well, what are you saying in these dates? You know, are you laughing a lot? Are you just kind of, oh, I'm just here for the vibes? Or are you actually enjoying their company? And then I would even say strategically placing certain questions so that way you can, you know, have a conversation that means something, but also tells them who you are. Now, of course, there's a cultural difference in terms of, you know, black people, how they date, and Asians and whatnot. You know, you have some cultures that actually put you together, which is, as I've gotten older, I feel like we should do more of that. You know what I mean? But then, and then there's also other cultures where, you know, in the black community, is just kind of, you know, you hear stories from your cousin and maybe your father or whatnot, and then you just date as you go. Wherever you go, then you just find somebody. And that's why the question, what is your purpose, is actually very, very important, because you need to have, you know, the end in mind, so to speak, where you want to go, and find somebody that helps you. So if you're in front of a lot of people who are doubting you and criticizing, you need somebody who's an encourager, you know what I mean, who can pray for you. You know, you're somebody who's very shy, you need somebody who's going to be a person to say, hey, look me in the eyes, you know, you can do this, and push you forward, you know. So you have to understand your weaknesses and be able to try to match as best as you can.
All right. I want to take a question from the chat.
Okay.
Gibby has a question here. He says, is it important to have such commonalities with your better half, like religion, race, etc.?
Okay. So I would say yes, in certain states, like for example, religion, absolutely. You want to have the same faith. You know, you want to have you want to be moving towards getting closer to Jesus Christ. and being more like him. Absolutely no if, and, or buts. When it comes to race, I am not a person who says you have to date somebody who is the same race. I do believe there's some benefits, when it comes to a community, the larger aspect of Black people or even whatever race that person may be. But I think that we get to choose. We're all human at the end of the day, and we get to choose the person that we want to be with. And God says, okay, well, I'm gonna teach you what you need to learn anyway, either way. But we get to choose. And so, but if you're thinking about it, in a, I guess, a bigger sense, yeah, there are some benefits in terms of Black love, which I love. My wife is Black, so just let that be known. and so yeah, there benefits to it, but I don't think it devalues either way.
All right. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Where can people purchase your book? Where can people find you? Or is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before you
Absolutely. So you can purchase my book at my website at marcusjsmith.org. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Signing Model. The signing, not the singing model, the signing model. And a lot of people say singing model, the signing model. And I just want to say, everybody, that dating is not a one size fits all. It's important that you have to have your core values in line first, and everything else, I believe strongly that everything else will follow through from there. So thank you all for. Yeah, can I teach y'all a sign?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to teach you guys Valentine's Day. Okay. So I'm going to do it first. Watch me, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So you're going to do your two, I guess, the middle fingers here, and then do the shape near your heart. That's Valentine.
And day.
And then day
and
is
day, right?
Here, day. Valentine.
Do the fingers again, Marcus. I missed this part.
Yeah. Valentine's
Day.
Yeah.
I remember this was day. I remember this was day.
Yeah.
I know some stuff. I know.
What's that?
Well,
okay. Look. Now in sign language, we have a thing called ASL, and then we have a thing called SEE, signing exact English. So we don't do that. So we don't do it. We're just gonna go sign language. So in ASL, we don't say like the adverb like is and the. We just kind of omit those.
Right.
Our facial expressions say those things.
The first thing I taught my daughter real quick, I used to teach her how to, instead of crying, I used to say, "Are you hungry? Eat."
Hungry.
And so she right, and I say eat, and she would say eat, or she would say more, or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, look, if Shelly, if you go back to class, learning ASL, if you need any tutoring, any advice, I'm definitely available for sure.
Yeah, that helps to have someone that you can do it with on a regular basis to practice with.
And lastly, I also am the host of ASL Poetry Night that happens every Friday each month. So I host Poetry Night in ASL. We do song signing and songs, all that stuff, all in ASL. That's at the Columbia location, the Columbia Busboys and Poets location.
Okay, cool. Oh, really? Every Friday
out there. This is
every Friday in March.
Every Friday, every second Friday of each month.
Oh, okay.
Every second Friday of each month. So the next one is actually going to be this Saturday, just because they moved us to Saturday. It's supposed to be on Friday, but they moved us to Saturday. So if you're interested in sign language, you want to learn, you want to see me sign some song, I got some love songs that I'm going to sign, and so it's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on, Marcus, and we'll definitely have to have you on again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Keep it up. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Excellent. All right, folks. So again, you can go to find Marcus and his book, and then also sign language things on marcusjsmith.org. All right. So we are moving right along here tonight. I want to change gears, of course, in a big way. But that was our Valentine's Day. We have Valentine's Day coming up, and so I wanted to give everybody, something to do for Valentine's Day. So changing gears, I want to talk about Ibram X. Kendi. So Ibram X. Kendi, Center for Antiracist Research, is permanently shutting down and laying off its staff. Kendi's center had over tens of millions of dollars in grants, but produced virtually no work. So, I mean, the press, you guys know, the press heralds Kendi as a genius, a scholar, the moral voice of the Black Lives Matter era. To me, honestly, he was right along with all the CRT, the gender ideology, the trans medical stuff. All of that was just a big heaping dump of trash, and he was sitting right on top of it with a stench. So, but this is what he did, and now he's closed up shop. So I'll start with you, Nicole. What did you think about this when you heard it? And do you think this is signaling something greater? Are we really done with DEI? Because
let me tell you, the money has dried up, so the grift is over. But people like this don't go away. They morph into something else. So whatever the new grift is going to be, you can rest assured they will be on the front line of said grift. This is the beautiful thing about the new golden era of America. The beautiful thing about it is not only is we're cutting off the head of this DEI monster, we're drying up its pockets. Pulling that money away from them means that these people now have to find other ways to pay their bills, other ways to find out, what could I say about race relations in America that's going to land me a $500,000 check? This is what they're looking for. I wouldn't be surprised if they pop up on CNN or MSNBC or the new pundit on The View or some other place where they can still sell that race grift. But that's once the money's gone, they're moving on. They're moving on.
Well, he's moving right to Howard.
Right, exactly. What do you think about this, Shelley?
Look, I say London Bridge is falling down. I don't give a damn. So that's number one. Number two, I was looking at this the site. This is one of your sites that you talk about, Nicole, usaspending.gov. And for fiscal year 2025 just started not even 2 months ago, right? We have obligated the USA to spend up $3 trillion, right? $3 trillion. I don't even know how many zeros that is, but $3.0 trillion. Guess how much of that trillion? Guess how much grants and fixed charges, whatever that means. More than half, almost 57% of that is obligated to grants and fixed charges, which means that those are the money's fixed charges that are going to get the allocation. They're going to have the money in the pot for them. How many grants of $3 trillion? More than half. Which means that all the rest of the needs, if you will, are going to be much lesser funded. The Ibram X Kendis or whatever his name is, and all of these DEI houses, let them fall like the stack of Legos. Let them fall. All of these government jobs that don't do anything, there's no return on investment, let them fall down. I don't give a damn. He's going to reinvent himself at Howard University. All of these universities, Boston University, where this center was, and where he's going to at Howard, all of these universities receive federal grants, i.e. taxpayer money. Why? What research are they putting out that is so beneficial to the rest of the nation that we have to pay for it? Many of these universities have endowments larger. Again, I don't even know how many zeros it is, but they have endowments to sustain them in perpetuity forever, long after we are all gone.
Yeah.
Why do they need taxpayer money? It is a grift. It is what we used to just call theft.
Yeah. Well, he's an author. Some of the things that he wrote, Anti-Racist Baby and Good Night Racism. I mean, the grift, I mean, he is like King Grift. In 2021, the New York Times particularly fawned over him, publishing uncritical fare like Ibram X. Kendi likes to read at bedtime. So they would always had him in the newspapers about stupid stuff. And then he secured $55 million for his Center on Antiracist Research at Boston University, which promised to engage scholarship and activism. It all ended in calamity. The New York Post reports, as the country emerged from BLM-induced mania, journalists began to cast a more critical eye on Kendi and his work. The conservative press circulated embarrassing clips, including one in which Kendi could not define the word racism without deploring circular logic. By 2024, the New York Times, no longer interested in his nighttime reading routine, exposed the professor's shallow ideology and raised questions about his leadership at the research center. So, like you said, I'm so happy this guy is out, and he needs to be put. I can't even believe. So you're saying Howard hired him? He's going to be
He's supposed to be going to Howard to run a center there, or run some kind of, I don't know, whatever he's going to be, but he's going to be at Howard. That's what I read today.
Yeah,
and
this is what.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, though. I mean, we just were talking about how they are indoctrinating our children. And, him with his CRT, DEI, all that, anti-racism crap. We're seeing this amongst Black people. Black and brown people are eating this stuff up. And then on the other hand, you have them pushing dildos and butt plugs on our kindergartners. So it's just like, why are you guys paying so much attention to this racial grift stuff and not to the other stuff?
I can't. I wish I had an answer for that. I think I do have some answers, but again, when we talk about Black people, I know we get a lot of pushback, and we always talking about Black people and we're downing. Newsflash: we're all Black. Okay. Again, we're all Black, grew up, born and raised in Black communities. We love people that are related to us, friends, family that are Black people. We don't necessarily see them just for their color, but we're just acknowledging that fact. Okay. I don't understand why Black people in 2025 are utterly consumed. And I'm saying Black people, I know it's not all. We are utterly consumed with racial or ethnic politics or identity politics. I don't understand. It's going to be the death of us, because by focusing and being consumed with that, we are really missing out on the pretty much the one indicator that really equalizes, if you will, everything. It's the economics.
Yeah,
because we spend too much time worried about social things. Here's the thing: the calamity part of what's happened to DEI really isn't going to hit home until there's some punitive measures that go along with maintaining a DEI thing in your federally funded public institution, right? So these endowments that we talk about that certain schools have, shout out to Hillsdale that don't take $1 of nobody's money. Come on, Hillsdale, do your thing. But schools who do, you're going to have to follow the law. You're going to have to get in line or risk losing that money. And oh, by the way, I think we should start taxing these endowments. I mean, they're sitting on a ton of money. Why should I have to pay when you've got so much money that you're sitting on? We've got to start doing things differently. As Black people, we have got to stop looking at the world through this lens of race. Yep. We've got to stop doing that. It's not benefiting us at all. And as the world starts to change and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, where is our place going to be? Are we still going to be hanging on to this victimhood card for dear life, or are we going to excel and ask our children to do the same? That's where our thought process should be. Not on this, where can I get another $500,000 check from for being the leader of a DEI program? Because that's what he's looking for. Yet another check.
Yeah, I agree. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right, let's see here. We have Krista says, I'm wondering if the name Harry Balls is officially taken. Thinking about changing my screen name. Really just wanted to see if KJ would blush. No, I see it, Krista. Well, we'll know who to call. We'll know when we see it. That is you. Rico and sit with the $5 super chat. KJ, get a spoonful of sugar and pour some turpentine on it, then eat it. Puddin hasn't yet, but she was up and walking in no time. Oh, so that's what you did. Is that what you did, Nicole?
No, that's one of them old school remedies.
She was saying before, she said Mucinex, but you didn't tell me about this.
Yes, no, Mucinex. Co was on one. Mucinex.
Okay. All right. So I want to get into, we're talking about all this money and accountability. I want to talk about DOGE. Woo! DOGE has been all over the media, even in the Oval Office. Elon did a press conference out of the Oval Office yesterday with President Trump, and it's driving the media wild. So much so, Anderson Cooper loses it in this next clip. This is clip 5.
It was surreal, but I got to tell you, I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the Treasury that had no justification.
There's no any actual, like, he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference in 6 months, is insane. Well, these guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out there.
It's not transparency to say things that have no factual background. I mean, to say we're cutting, we've found $1 billion or $1 trillion in waste with no specifics, that's just talk. That's not transparency.
It's 23 days in here, guys. 23 days. You were talking about 2.3 billion that was saved last year. These guys are saving 2.3 billion a day.
Right, but
it's incredible.
That's what they're saying. But where's the proof?
You're waiting. You're not going to be satisfied till he shows up with 10,000 pages. I think
but 10,000 pages. Yeah. He's giving very specific things.
Yes, he's giving.
But he's not actually giving any evidence of that.
It's all going to come because what they also said was, if we have to go to Congress, we'll go to Congress.
Right, but
we'll show where it is.
Some of the details that have come out, like the $59 million spent on luxury hotels, it's actually not.
Talking about the FEMA money that was abused for migrants. That was. Yeah. FEMA money for migrants, that's okay now?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't put words in my mouth.
So would you stop that? Would you stop that process?
Don't be a dick. The portrayal, what I'm saying is the portrayal by him is.
Boy, that guy's a piece of work. My goodness, don't be a dick. He's a piece of work.
Yeah, so Nicole, what was he? I didn't understand why did he say that? What did he get upset about?
Well, they asked for receipts. Caroline has given them receipts. Elon has given them receipts. Again, this is the Democrats saying, we don't like how fast you're moving and don't be a dick, right? They like things at a slow snail's pace so they can continue to rob the American taxpayer. They can continue to run these little shadow NGOs and make a bunch of money behind everybody's back. Oh, but they're not making money. They're just stealing our money. Just stealing our money. So they're angry, not that they too have been ripped off, but they're angry that they've been caught. They have been caught red-handed. And I am waiting. I cannot wait to hear the excuses as to why they too aren't up in arms. We had a bunch of people in the House of Representatives today. I think they said about 100 people join into the DOGE caucus because it's starting to get good. When you start seeing Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters, losing it, keep digging, DOGE. Keep digging. They're going to find it. They're going to find out how they got so rich on less than $200,000 a year salary.
Yeah, it's coming out. Shelley, what do you think of that exchange?
Look, Gloria Vanderbilt was much more classier than her son. Okay. Absolutely. So Anderson is just this little worked up little, sometimes effeminate wuss. Whatever. DOGE, and I love the fact, let's talk about DOGE real quick. I love the fact that not only was Elon at the White House in the Oval Office with President Trump, he had little DOGE there. Little DOGE was just there, going around. It was really cute. But Elon, as eccentric as he may be, and this DOGE, again, what I'm calling death of government expenditures or death of government expenses, I'm looking at this DOGE website. And first of all, I think I heard a news report today, or may have been Elon on X, talking about how they name these categories, and the language is so nebulous that nobody can really understand what it means. So on this DOGE.gov website, this category called outlays for spending for the USA. What the hell is what does that mean? Outlays. All these nebulous categories. But I know one thing, the bar graph goes all the way over to the other side of the page, which means that we are spending much more than we are taking in, if you will, which causes a debt, a deficit, whatever our word applies. But these people, these leftists, these Marxists, these radicals, and again, progressives, whatever you want to call them, they are upset. You got to listen. They are upset that things are being uncovered and transparent about the spending by the institutions on behalf or because of American taxpayer money. That doesn't even just make sense. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. That just doesn't make sense. Somebody's upset because the books are being opened about how your money is being spent. I mean, wake up, people. Wake up. You want to be woke? Well, wake up. Wake up. It doesn't make sense, except if you look at it in the framework of power and lies, manipulation, stealing, theft, whatever you want to call it. If you look at it under that framework, that these people can maintain their positions off of your and my money, then that's the only explanation that will make sense.
Exactly. Yeah, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, it's scary, actually, how the media, once again, is falling in line with the lies, with the propaganda. We're seeing this once again. The same thing they told us about how Biden was this brilliant person, and then all of a sudden we found out he can't even make his way around the room. So once again, they're doing it. Who would be upset about an audit? Who would be upset about that? And guess what? He's finding things on both sides. It's both sides of the aisle where he is finding out this stuff is going on. So they had the House subcommittee had a hearing, I think it was today, on delivering on government efficiency. They held their first hearing. And they're talking, not only are they talking about Social Security fraud, they're saying that they found massive COVID relief fund fraud. They found systemic government failures because of outdated systems, poor fraud detection, lack of data sharing enable criminals to exploit government programs, widespread benefit fraud. So it extends past COVID, also into Medicaid, unemployment, food stamps, TANF programs. I mean, the list goes on, the amount of trillions of dollars that they have found have been wasted and defrauded by our government.
Absolutely.
I mean, people should be all over this.
You would think.
Yeah, you would think that this would be the
I
first
want
thing.
every government institution. I don't care if it's the Department of Defense down to the street sweepers. I want every institution audited. I want an accounting. I want our money back. I want it back.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to give anymore. I don't.
Exactly.
I don't want to give anymore. You know, it's going to be a tough April. It's going to be a tough April because you can't tell me that you've gone decades wasting the taxpayers' money. And I mean wasting. This is not like, you know, back in the day, they used to talk about golden toilet seats and all that kind of thing, $100 pen. No, this is systemic. When they talk about systemic waste, this is a plan to defraud the American taxpayer that has been okayed by both sides of the aisle. As an American, this is not a political thing where it's Republican or Democrat. This is a squarely an American issue. Stop asking us for money if this is the best you're going to do with it.
Yeah. And the outdated system, system and the electronics that they have is just, it's ridiculous. Here's a video of them showing Elon Musk says the maximum amount of people who can retire from the federal government in a month is 10,000 because the paperwork is done manually at an old limestone mine in Pennsylvania. This is clip 3.
It supports many of our high security customers, such as banks, financial institutions, healthcare organizations, and the federal government. If you are a high compliance or high security need organization, this is the place to be. The Western Pennsylvania facility is a city underground. It has many of the same things that a city would have. It has fire and rescue teams and a store. It has enough fuel storage to last 72 hours without having to refuel. As we go further and further into the labyrinth, which is the facility, we reach the data center portion. There are more than 6 different challenge points before we hit the data center. These challenge points and these extra gates help with security and compliance. The 30-foot thick limestone and 200 feet of stone above the facility lead to natural weather protection, and the ambient temperature of 53 degrees helps the facility remain cool. Iron Mountain works with our customers to design the space of their needs. Whether it's what you can see over my shoulder, cage material, or solid steel wall, Faraday enclosures, or coops, Iron Mountain is there to support those customers. For each of the power feeds that are overhead, powered with Starline bus, behind it are UPSs, separate UPSs, separate generators, and then separate power feeds coming from our grid. All of this designed to be able to support complete redundancy within the system. With a rich ecosystem.
We should note, again, and you and I have said this in the air many times, there is no evidence that Joe Biden was, involved in any wrongdoing.
Of course, want to note that there is no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden has done anything wrong.
I just want to reiterate.
And let's be clear for the viewers.
There is no evidence Biden did anything wrong.
Governor, you got a second?
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I Want to Make the Switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
All right. So, this is crazy what they're uncovering. And even crazier is how we're seeing the Democrats and the elites try to stop them from uncovering this stuff. Even FEMA, so the Department of Homeland Security recovered $59 million of taxpayer funds the Federal Emergency Management Administration sent to hotels in New York City to shelter illegal immigrants. And remember, Biden said he wasn't doing it.
Of course. Right. And that's not including the money that comes from the USDA that gives them food stamps and EBT cards. That's a whole different government agency. And for the people who say, oh, $59 million is a drop in the bucket. Well, damn it, it's my bucket. Put that drop in it because more drops will eventually fill up the damn bucket. Put it in there. It's ridiculous. Every penny should be accounted for. Again, if we have to give an accounting every year of what we earn and how we spend our legally earned money to these jokers and institutions, then by golly, an every year audit needs to be done on every government institution. And they don't need as much as they think they do, as they think that they're entitled to. And we certainly don't need all these institutions that are getting our money, particularly in all kinds of means and ways that we would never even support.
Agreed. I think there's a lot to be said for reducing the number of agencies that we have, combining them. Kristi Noem, our HHS secretary, says that she's taken back that $59 million from New York City to pay for those migrant hotels. That she's only been in place, what, a week?
Something
Had
like
no
that.
idea what was going on, but she's found the employees who were responsible for that, who circumvented the system, the one system that they did have in place, who circumvented that system and made sure that New York got that money to put these migrants in a luxury hotel. While people in North Carolina are sleeping on the cold ground in tents.
It's just terrible.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. If she can do that inside of 10 days, the Biden administration couldn't do that inside of 4 years.
Right.
They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. It's terrible. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. We certainly appreciate you. All right, let's see here. We have Laura with a $5 super chat. Says Trump and Elon will get to the bottom of all this stuff. I pray they do. I do.
Maybe while they're digging in that mine, maybe we might find that some tapes of Hillary and all of the Russian collusion that they destroyed. Maybe there's a copy there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of Hillary, the next thing they talked about is investigating. I think one of you mentioned this, investigating all of these Congress people and these government workers who have these high net worths. Mm-hmm. So President Trump made the announcement yesterday where he said, following an executive order calling on federal agencies to work with DOGE, he files a bombshell report that Samantha Power, she's the former head of the USAID, saw her net worth explode to $30 million, despite an annual salary under $250,000. So President Trump and Elon Musk exposed the ex-USAID chief on this. And they're like, what's going on? How is she, where's all this money coming from? And she wasn't the only one. Let me see here. The New York Post reports, Musk said on Tuesday, Power, a former ambassador to the United Nations under President Obama, and was sworn in as head of the USAID in May of 2021, reported a net worth between 6.7 million to 16.5 million in January of 2021. Her net worth estimated now as high as $30 million. So, I mean, these people are getting rich off of our hardworking backs.
Absolutely. Because nobody's watching. Nobody's taking account of any of the things that are going on. And when somebody gets close enough to see what's going on, they just offer them an NGO of their own. Do you know? Yep. Rather than hold someone's feet to the fire in accountability, what we usually see coming out of our Congress are well-prepared speeches about droning on, and if they can get a good X bite or something they can throw on IG or socials, that's what we see. Whatever happened to the day of Mr. Smith goes to Washington? That's the guy I'm looking for. Chip Roy is a great guy who does that kind of thing, who comes to the floor, calls it as he sees it. People think, he might be a little problematic, but he's the kind of problem that America needs.
Right.
Ask the tough questions. How did you come here?
In 3 years, just 3 years.
Yeah, they released that ethics report. Most of the people who come to Congress are broke. Or let me just say, as wealthy, they're 100-aire like the rest of us, right? Maybe 1,000-aire. But then they leave so wealthy that it's like, how does that happen inside of a few years?
Yeah, and they sent Martha Stewart to jail for insider trading. They do it every day. It blows your mind when you think about, again, we talk about grift, the theft, the stealing, all of these machinations that they do, the wheeling and dealing on taxpayers' dimes, with taxpayers' money, and they come out much, much more wealthier than we might even think to be one day.
But that's because they think we have an endless supply of money. The taxpayer is going to have to comply, or they'll kick your door in. They'll steal your car. Put a lien on everything you own. They'll do what they have to do to make sure that your money continues to be available for them to steal.
And they're getting fat. They're getting rich off of their investments. They said that most notably, she held a $11.73 million gain in her investment holdings. And they're starting to look into members of Congress along these lines as well. Many of them have been very lucky in their investments, and they've gained millions in these things. So something's got to change here. And I'm hoping that DOGE and Elon Musk are able to really root out all of this, really get in there and figure out what's going on, uncover it, expose it. And I'm surprised more people aren't. This isn't even a partisan issue. It shouldn't be a partisan issue. All of us work hard for this stuff. I don't even understand how these Democrats are out here protesting this. What are you protesting for? You're protesting against transparency?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's Trump. Because it's Trump and Elon. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So we're moving right along. Speaking of, we were talking about FEMA and these hotels that they use our money to pay for these illegals. Well, these sanctuary cities, Pam Bondi, the new attorney general, has had enough. Breaking news out today. Pam Bondi sues New York and its liberal leaders over the sanctuary city policies as Trump cracks down on migrants. So the United States Justice Department sued New York, its governor, Kathy Hochul, and I believe it was Letitia James.
Their AG, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the AG. Sued them all for the sanctuary cities. And so the lawsuit, she had a press conference today about it. She said that they were suing New York, suing all these people, also the current commissioner of New York State Department of Motor Vehicles. So this is a pretty big thing. You think, Nicole?
Yeah, this is an amazing thing. And I expect nothing less from the tremendous Pam Bondi. If you fancy yourself a sanctuary state, she's coming for you. You are in violation of the law. And this is what the Department of Justice is supposed to do. They're not supposed to be sending FBI agents to rifle through somebody's underwear drawer. That's not the scope. But this type of thing, absolutely. You find yourself on the wrong side of federal law, she's supposed to have you come and explain yourself. This is the thing. She had this conversation with them in Illinois, said, listen, I know you guys think this is cute. It's not cute. It's causing strife. You have to stop giving these illegal migrants driver's licenses. You have to stop doing that. You have to stop doing that. And just putting a little sticker on it that says not for federal ID no longer works. It's in violation of the law. Yeah. So New York's testing her gangster, and they're going to find out. Let me tell you. She's here for all that smoke. Here for all of that smoke.
Yeah. I have a clip of her here. I want to show you guys. Talking about just a little bit of this press conference. This woman is a shark, and I love her.
Me too.
Here she is.
And so I just came straight back here. So thanks for being patient with us with the delay. EMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. With me today, I'm so proud to be joined by Tammy Nobles.
She's from Maryland.
Tammy is an angel mom. Mm-hmm. Her beautiful daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered by an MS-13 member in 2022. Kayla had just turned 20 years old, and she was raped and murdered by someone who should not have been in our country. Yet he was released, flown to Maryland, where he committed this violent murder. I just want you to hear from.
And before we listen to this tragic story from this mom, I want to say that this is what the Democrats say: there's no such thing as an illegal. Remember they said that? Many
people
of these
aren't illegal. Yeah.
People aren't illegal. Tell this to this mom. It is so infuriating. I am so upset today. I don't know if it's just my cold. I don't know what. I am so sick. I am so sick of these people. They have no respect for the law. They have no respect for life. They don't respect any of it. They don't respect parental rights. They don't respect anything that is not something that they can try to just darken and ugly. It just makes me sick. I can't even talk really.
We talked about it before, KJ. You know what's going to happen when you put the light of day on these demons. You know, it is what it is, honey. This is spiritual warfare. They come after our babies. They come after our food. They come after our water. And God knows they got their hands in both our pockets. We got to fight them back. We have to fight back.
Yeah.
I want you guys to see this angel mom right here in Maryland. This guy came all the way from the southern border to here in Maryland. Take a look at this.
I want you to hear from Tammy. Tammy represents not only herself and her family, but all of the great angel moms around this country who have suffered because of what the Biden administration did, and it is over.
I know that's right, Pam.
Thank you for having me here today and being able to share Kayla's story. Her murderer was able to come across the border knowing that he was flagged as an MS-13 gang member, and he had a criminal record in 2020 in El Salvador for illicit gang activity. He came over as an unoccupied alien child, saying that he was afraid of gang activity in his country. Health and Human Services called him a nice boy, and he showed age-appropriate behavior. That fell so wrong when he murdered my daughter. He ended up in Maryland, where he was able to rent a room in the same mobile home as her. We thought it was a legit company that were renting out these rooms, but it turned out that it was another illegal immigrant who owned these mobile homes. And he knew Walter from El Salvador. He knew him and allowed him to rent a room with my child. Kayla just turned 20 years old 3 days before she was murdered. Her murderer was only living there for 5 days before he viciously strangled her, raped her, and left her on the floor like trash and robbed her of $6.
Oh.
I have been sharing her story for over 2.5 years to bring change, because this should have not have ever happened to Kayla, and it shouldn't be happening to other families being hurt by the border.
Let me just say this. I look at this mother. I don't see a Democrat. I don't see a Republican. I don't see a conservative, a leftist. I see an American mother who lost her daughter, who was murdered by somebody who wasn't even supposed to be here. Exactly. And these Democrats are making this thing be like some left against right and things like it's right against wrong.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Good versus evil. Good versus evil.
Yeah, that's it. First of all, I love that they're using the word murder, because I always say I like to make a distinction between murder and killing. I love that because it's much more visceral. It's much more gut wrenching, and it paints a vivid picture that this young lady and other American families, like you said, have lost their loved ones to this violence, these illegals in particular who have committed these horrendous crimes. To the point where Pam Bondi was talking about the licenses. You all know, we all drive. If we don't have car insurance, when we go to renew or register our vehicles, we're not getting a registration. And depending on how long you go without car insurance, you might get fined, okay? Because you don't have
insurance. Here in this state, you will.
So right, we get those penalties against us, Americans. Go ahead, take it. What you say?
I would say that's only Maryland. Virginia, you don't have to. Some states like Virginia, they don't require you to carry.
Right, state by state. But in general, I'm just saying where we have to have it, at least here in Maryland, if we don't, we're fine. But you can give an illegal a license and put some kind of sticker on it and says whatever it says. Come on, this is a scam, like theft. It's illegal. It's immoral to the highest heights, and we have elected and unelected bureaucrats that are administering these programs, if you will, and these policies that have the audacity to tell the rest of us that we have to follow the law, so to speak. This is not law. This is lawfare. This is illegal. This is entrapment. This is all kinds of, but it's not law, and it does not benefit the American people. It only benefits a small few, and these few are usually the ones who are getting much for nothing.
Yeah,
exactly. Precisely.
I want to acknowledge our super chatters, folks. Thank you all so much. Rico, thank you. Says that's right, KJ. We're just Americans. Exactly. We're Americans. We got to be in this together. Yep. This is why people. This is why we're falling apart now. This is why we're opening ourselves up to danger from the outside, because we're falling apart from within, because we can't even become solid and connect as Americans. Laura with the $5 super chat says Trump and Elon will get to the bottom of all of this stuff. I pray they do. I really do. Rico with the $5 super chat says Elon is like Morpheus giving us the red pill. He's taking us down that rabbit hole. Could President Trump be Neo? All right, Laura says Trump reminds me of Columbo. Yeah, he does.
That's funny. That's cute.
Oh, at last, Satisfied Patriot with the $10 super chat says family is not just blood. I feel that this community is family. God bless you all, and we must encourage and hold one another up. God uses each of us for his glory. No distance in love or praise.
Oh, thank you. Amen. That's nice. Exactly. I agree with you.
I do too. Tina with the $10 super chat says, so sorry I missed the last couple of shows. I've been earning residency at the hospital as I've been sick. Just want to show y'all some love. Blessings, KJ, Nicole, and Shelly. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. You were feeling better.
Yeah, I hope you're doing better. That's terrible.
Yeah. We are building family here. This is what it's all about. This was what we envisioned when we started this channel. Community, family of like-minded people that share the same values. This is what it's all about. From near and far, we come on here and we want to support one another. We want to hold each other up. We want to keep each other informed of what's going on. Because, folks, this 4 years is going to go by fast. I pray J.D. Vance gets in after Trump, but who knows? So we have to stay vigilant. We must stay vigilant because we got a country to keep and save. All right. So I want to, I know we're running out of time here. I would like to switch gears sort of and talk about what Trump is going on with Gaza. So recently he had the King of Jordan at the White House. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
President, why should the king take in the Palestinian people? He's made clear he doesn't want to.
Well, I don't know, but he may have just something to say because we discussed just briefly I think maybe you want to say it now, or?
Well, Mr. President, I think we have to keep in mind that there is a plan from Egypt and the Arab countries. We're being invited by Mohammed bin Salman to discussions in Riyadh. I think the point is how do we make this work in a way that is good for everybody?
Right.
Obviously, we have to look at the best interests of the United States, of the people in the region, especially to my people of Jordan. And we're going to have some interesting discussions today. I think one of the things that we can do right away is take 2,000 children that are either cancer children or in a very ill state to Jordan as quickly as possible, and then wait for, I think, the Egyptians to present their plan on how we can work with the president to work on Gaza challenges.
And we'll be working on the rest with Egypt. I think you're going to see some great progress. I think with Jordan, you're going to see some great progress. There's 3 of us, and we'll have some others helping, and we're going to have some others at a very high level helping, and the whole thing will come. It's not a complex thing to do. And with the United States being in control of that piece of land, a fairly large piece of land, you're going to have stability in the Middle East for the first time. And the Palestinians, or the people that live now in Gaza, will be living beautifully in another location. They're going to be living safely. They're not going to be killed, murdered, and having to leave every 10 years, because I've been watching this for so many years. It's nothing but trouble.
Wow. So before we get into that video, we had a viewer share something here. Shelley, you saw it?
Yeah, one of our viewers, Stacy Diebold, she mentioned, I think it's a lady, she mentioned that her son was kidnapped in Cozumel, Mexico in 2019, and he still has not been found. First, and thank you all in the chat who are supporting her and showing her some love. I'm sorry, whoever said it, at Last Patriot, we are a family and we don't have to be blood. So Stacy, we're sending our heart out to you. You mentioned that there was a video about your son, Blake Mitchell. If you're able to share the link, let us know. We'd like to see that video at least. And our hearts and prayers go out to you and your family. I can't imagine the suffering that you all are feeling.
Yeah, yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry as well.
Yeah.
And we will continue to pray for you all. 2019. Wow.
Yeah.
So, my goodness, there's such evil goes on in this world. We just have to continue to stay prayerful. We do. We have to continue to stay prayerful. Laura, I love you all, Poppin' Politics and family. Thank you, Laura. So if we get that video, we will share it here.
Yeah.
So you saw Trump. I like how, the media, before the King of Jordan spoke, they said, why are you saying this? The King of Jordan doesn't want to do this. And then he flipped it on everybody, didn't he?
Yes. Look, I mean, conservative circles, if you will, we have not just today, but for decades, we've been asking and saying, why don't those other Arab countries take in these Palestinians, these refugees, these displaced people? Why not? He's starting with the sick children, 2,000 or so of them, sick children and families. Why not? What is so wrong with that? That's a good thing. And he's encouraging Egypt to do something. This is going to spread. You know why the media and the left don't like it? Because once it starts happening, then there will be zero excuse as to why these Palestinians still have to remain in Gaza or live the way they do. There also will be zero excuse to say that, no one else wants them. They're refugees. They're just going to have to do whatever they're doing. No, there won't be any excuse. Now these countries and the King of Jordan, no less, is stepping up. This is a start in the right direction. And most of all, they don't like it because Trump has his hand in it.
Yeah, it looks like this might actually happen, Nicole. What do you think?
There's a lot going on in the region. King Abdullah, though, has always been resistant, probably the kindest word, resistant to having them in his nation. Nobody wants to import terror. Nobody.
Right.
Even if we have the same quote unquote God, nobody wants to import terror. So, he has to kind of deal with the people in his kingdom, but taking in 2,000 sick children, everybody will rally around that. That's a good starting point. I understand from some text messages I got this evening that Hamas is not going to return all of the hostages by Saturday at noon. They've declined Trump's offer. So, the region that's already hot has just gotten hotter. And when I tell you, I'm prayerful for people who live in the region. I'm prayerful for people who are traveling to the region. But we do have to draw a very hard line with this kind of behavior. We have to. Or this will continue to be on, for my daughter's entire lifetime, this holy war that's been going on amongst these two. We can't continue at this pace. There's got to be a decisive moment. And, Saturday at 12 noon was the cutoff. God help them.
That's what he said. That's what President Trump said. That takes us to this next clip. This is journalist Yvonne Ridley speaking with another reporter about what's going on with in the Middle East, in Gaza and things. Take a look. This is clip 1.
Let's get back to what Hamas has said. They believe that terms of ceasefire have been breached. They're not going to release any more hostages. Donald Trump has said all the hostages out by 12 on Saturday. We think he means midday. All the hostages, not just the next 3, all the hostages out, or all hell breaks loose. He said that's what he would do. He's been backing Israel. Do you think that would focus minds? I mean, there's no reason why Hamas couldn't release all of the hostages on Saturday, could there? I mean, all of them. Is there any argument that you, as someone who desperately cares about innocent people, those hostages are innocent people, are they not? Is there any reason why Hamas couldn't and shouldn't release them all?
Once the hostages go, and every act of kindness that has been shown to Israel has just been backlash.
Sorry? Every act of kindness?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Every act of... What were the acts? Do tell me what the acts of kindness were. The pitcher bread once every 3 days for those men kept in a tunnel for 16 months? How generous, how kind.
And you're focusing on the 3 men.
Oh, silly me.
If we look at the women.
Oh, you're going to go there. You're going to go there. Didn't they look well and healthy, Yvonne? Didn't they look well? They must have had a wonderful time at that holiday camp that Hamas ran for them for the last 16 months. When you were held captive, when you were held hostage by the Taliban, you were fed. You had cigarettes. You were looked after. You weren't in fear for your life. Those women, those men, the children, the elderly, the sick, they lived every day.
I would be in an Israeli prison, that's for sure.
Absolute abject nonsense.
We've had a doctor who was raped to death, and then the Israelis called it self-defense. When did rape become self-defense?
Well, yeah, you tell me. Let's ask your friends in Hamas, Yvonne. I'm not saying there aren't atrocities committed by some Israeli forces, and some of them end up in court, and rightly so, and they should all end up in court. I'm not defending any atrocities that are committed by any side. I want to know, what were the acts of kindness that Hamas did that have been thrown back in their face by Israel? What were those acts of kindness?
Well, they gave them goodie bags. I don't know what was in them, but they gave them gifts. They gave them little mementos, Palestinian mementos.
The acts of kindness from your hostage taker, from the man who's kidnapped you and terrified you and starved you for months. Yvonne, what's happened to you? What has happened to you?
Yvonne, what's happened to you? What has happened to you? You fat bitch. This is what she said. I couldn't believe she said that. She was advocating, the reporter was advocating that that Hamas not let hostages go, because that would then give up their anything they had to negotiate with. That was
they don't have any bargaining chips. That's the whole point. This is the whole point of why they were holding on to the Americans so tight. Do you know, this is the reason why Joe Biden had zero success in getting any hostages back, because this was their bargaining chip. You're going to do what we say do, or we're going to spill just a little bit of an American blood. But if you want the rest of these Americans, you're going to do what we want you to do.
What do they want?
They
want Israel destroyed.
Gone. Not
they want Israel off the map.
They want them gone off the planet, completely eradicated. They want absolute genocide. No Jewish people, no friends of the Jewish people. They want them gone. And this is the reason why holy wars last for eons, because it's not based in logic. It is not based in your current circumstances. The truth of the matter is, and this is just me being very, very Nicole Bennett honest, Israel should have took them out a long damn time ago. You hear me? The international community could kiss both my butt cheeks. I would have erased them off the planet and wouldn't have given a damn about it. Listen, I send them back to their maker. Let Allah sort them out. Let it be what it's going to be. But I'm not going to live in terror. Exactly. I'm not going to raise my children in terror because these people got a bug up their butt. This is outrageous behavior. People think about it and they say, well, Israel should do this. Imagine if the United States had been attacked on October 7th. And other nations around the world said, well, no. You can hit them back, but not that hard. Please. Are you serious?
The journalist Yvonne, is her name Yvonne Ridley? Yeah. I looked her up a quick Google. So she had been kidnapped by the Taliban and converted to, I guess, Islam during that time.
Really?
Yeah, so she I think after 9/11, if I'm not mistaken, it was around 2000.
Kidnapped by the Taliban. Yep.
Yeah, she was kidnapped. And I think she was held for 2 or 3 years. And so during that time, she quote unquote converted, probably a forced conversion, no less. But it sounds like to me that she has taken on this Taliban or Islamic identity, religion. So this is where her allegiance is now. So these people are the good guys. They're giving goodie bags and gifts. She's what we call a classic case of Stockholm syndrome, if you will, in the psychological terms. Textbook case, Stockholm syndrome. But she, in her mind, she believes this because now she's a Muslim. So that's some of the backstory. Because I had to look into a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, her name sounded familiar. But the journalist or the reporter or whoever she was talking to, she was absolutely correct. This is hogwash. This is absolute insanity. They're giving you goodie bags because let me see, you kidnapped me and I'm supposed to accept your goodie bag as a generous, gesture because you murdered people. You murdered my neighbors or my friends on October the 7th, and now you give me a goodie bag and all is supposed to be well. This is the warped, deranged, twisted thinking that many people, particularly on the left, including the Taliban types, these extremist Islamists, this is the warped thinking. And you talk about holy wars. This is why these types of, fundamentalist religions, they're not going to ever be able to live in unity. They have a whole category, of doctrine. And this is what they believe.
Yeah. And this is not the kind of hatred that's like lightweight taught in school. This is ingrained in every part of who they are. There's no chance of reconciliation and peace. Zero chance of reconciliation and peace until somebody gives up their God. Who's giving up the God? Nobody. But let me tell you this, and they should hear Donald J. Trump very clearly. He gave you a cutoff date. He meant it. And he said, all hell's going to break loose. Honey, hold on to your hat. Hold on to your hat. Diplomacy works when people are rational, logical, or scared the fucking death of you. Yep. That's when diplomacy works. And if they don't have any fear of the United States of America, they should know that Joe Biden is no longer the president. We're not here to play these games with these folks. Not at all. We're going to have peace. Peace through strength. Whether that's talking nice to you, making nice deals, or kicking your butt across that desert of yours, honey, we're not here for this foolishness. I've had enough of these folks. I've had it.
I can't get out of my head, after watching October 7th unfold and the scene that's like embedded on my brain is of the young girl with the long dark hair and how they kidnapped her and then she was raped so badly that she was bleeding out of her behind. I mean, it was bloody. And you saw, I think they killed her because I remember
they did.
Saw her body.
I think she did. Yeah,
Bloody on her back side. So she had been assaulted. And it was just, I mean, they took babies, 6 months old, I believe. Babies, sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers,
children.
Yeah. I mean, and this woman has the nerve to come on and say they gave goodie bags. These people are evil and sick, and it makes you, just hearing this stuff. It's like, the best thing may be to level it, I don't see any other way. Like you mentioned, Nicole, there's no negotiation. There's no way to, after October 7th, you would have thought they would have handed over these hostages.
Nope. And they've said, they're on the record saying now, they're not giving any more hostages. They're not giving any more hostages.
My Lord.
They're
Like
gonna,
you said,
they're gonna
you have to pray,
listen.
pray for it. Yeah, pray for everyone there.
FAFO, let me tell you.
Yeah. So we will continue to follow the story. I mean, we'll be back. We'll be here Friday. So we'll be here before Saturday to see, if there's anything that comes out of it. I always pray for peace.
Absolutely.
And I pray that they send those hostages home. That is the best way. Let them go. Send the hostages home. And then
I pray for that too, but I also pray for the terrorists to be taken out.
Listen, they can send them or we can take them. Let's get that real clear. But the way that they are moving with this president, it's like they have no idea who he is.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we will continue to focus to update you all on what's going on there. Also, what's going on with DOGE. If you guys haven't seen, DOGE has just released the DOGE tracker is live now. The official website, I should say, for DOGE has gone live today. So you can go on and see all the information that they're uncovering and exposing. And we will continue to track their whereabouts as well. All right, ladies, any final thoughts? I'll start with you, Nicole. Final thoughts for the audience tonight.
Listen, Valentine's Day is right on top of us. If you haven't got your merch, you haven't got your boo thing, that classic white poppin' politics, not that I'm hinting, the classic white poppin' politics hoodie or t-shirt. My birthday's coming. I've been a good girl almost probably 2 weeks out of the year, and last year I was pretty good too. I'm just gonna put that out there, Santa. I know it's not Santa season, but Santa's watching, and Santa, I could probably use both of the coffee mugs, so I could have coffee and tea without having to wash it out.
You could do the Trump dance with them.
I sure could. I could take it downtown and have fun with it on Capitol Hill. But this is the time to buy your merch. Don't wait. If the delivery is not going to make it to you on time, what you do is you screenshot the picture and say, this is what's coming, babe, and we're going to match up and we're going to go out and have a good time. Get your merch. Get your merch now. Don't wait.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that, Nicole. Shelly, any final thoughts for the audience?
Well, I'm for the merchandise, I'll say this. I'm partial to. I like black t-shirts. I just prefer black t-shirts. Not that the white ones are not. It's not a black and white thing, right? I'm not being racist, but I'm just partial to black. Black t-shirts for the most part. So yes, get your t-shirts, get your mugs. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to say my new mantra. Part of my mantra for the year: open the books. Open the books. We want a full accounting. That's just it. It's our money. It's our money. We, the people. And remember, DOGE, death of government expenditures or expenses. Cut it down.
All right. All right, folks. Well, yeah, we will continue to keep you all updated on all that's going on. You guys know where to find us right here on YouTube, Pop and Politics. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button. We definitely need the likes. It helps to amplify our voice here on YouTube. The more, so hit that like button if you haven't done so already, and subscribe. We certainly appreciate it from you all. All right, what's today? Today is Wednesday. So yep. Oh, so tomorrow, hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better. We have the Christian Conservative. We will be on Christian Conservative tomorrow at 9 p.m. So check me out on YouTube here at KJCJ Christian Conservative. And then Saturday, we have Just the Guys podcast, Just the Guys podcast. Check them out. And then you could also check out the All American Talk Show. You can see there at All American Talk. All right. So that's me tomorrow at KJCJ Christian Conservative. And then Saturday at Just the Guys podcast. All here on YouTube. These are our sister channels. So you're going to get conservative content, and it's going to be from different angles. So it's all good. Definitely subscribe. All right. So until next time, let me see. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. We have another super chat for the night.
Like 2 of them.
Okay. Rico says, what you trying to say? Put. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. You giving them a hint. All right. And then we have Kung Fu CJ.
Hey,
I am sorry I am late. Oh,
late. You're not late. You're
not
great. You are a great supporter. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you all for our super chatters and our family, our community, and the audience. We love you guys.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you so much. You all have 3 Valentines right here, okay? We're your Valentines.
Wait,
so
how did he do the sign again?
Oh yeah, he said
like the heart.
Oh yeah.
Fingers, heart, day.
Day, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was the sign language for Valentine Day. So you have 3 Valentines here with us. We'll be back Friday, I think. It's Friday Valentine's Day.
Friday is Valentine's Day.
All right, so I guess we'll be back.
I might have to bring us some little treats to schmooze on air.
We'll see. All right, it's a treat, maybe a treat to you, but it's a trick for us. All right. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night.